Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. I had an idea to have some opening words from them, but we heard from Marco and we heard from Elena a buzzword. We heard about personalization. So I would like to know how we can scale personalization from small hotels, small boutique hotels, up to big hotel chains. Chris, what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, so, can you hear me okay? Yeah, so I associate personalization as kind of a key tenet to a hotel's loyalty program. So, the chains are doing this at scale today. The quote I love for, consideration for boutique hotels and independents is, loyalty is really never having to repeat yourself, right? And so, one thing that I always think about from a payment perspective is, the experience when a customer is having to be given their credit card information when they reserve, and then being asked to provide the same information when they check in, right?
Yeah.
And so, there's an opportunity there for a hotelier to kind of capture that information as a card on file, and then be put in a position to be able to really, personalize and monetize that golden advanced purchase window between, when a person reserves and when they check in, to provide personalized experiences.
Yeah, that's perfect. Good idea. Roberto, you always mentioned in your podcast and previous lectures that you had top-down approach. What is your approach for a hotel chain on personalization?
Yes, personalization for us, it's about data. And data is the major prerequisite for doing personalization. So if I would put like 3 major pillars that are relevant for personalization, it's data or smart data or connected data. I think Rentley was a good example into connecting some of the touch points from our guests, and Elena also gave a good example from the kind of website. On the top of it, it's segmentation, and then you can actually achieve personalization, or what is ultimate goal, like Google hyper-personalization. So that's I would say, the most important part. So if you want to personalize and if you want to scale, you can't do that without technology. So technology and the place where you collect all this data, like CRMs, customer data platforms or similar, is something that you actually need as a prerequisite that you could do good personalization. And on the top of it, then you need to be really great in analyzing data and actually creating your, let's say, marketing campaigns or tailored experiences for the guests so that you could actually do good personalization. As an example, someone is arriving to your hotel or someone wants to book, and he needs to book, you need to tailor experience for him. Whether it's you are selling a trip to Venice or you want to bundle his stay with a trip to Venice, it's a part of kind of tailored service. And this is something that we have to achieve if we want actually to attract guests or keep them satisfied. And additionally, what we've seen is that on the top of that, we never think about staff training and how we actually integrate all these technologies with our staff. Because most of the times, interaction is with guests and our staff is not really prepared for it. So that's in short.
And what would you recommend how to balance the hyper-personalization and the human touch?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you want, so what we've done or what we think it's important that each kind of hotel or hotel company or whoever is providing the service thinks about what are the touch points that your guests has with you. Whether it's when they are interesting to book, when they are booking, when they are arriving, when they arrive, when they are staying with you. And then based on each touch point, you decide what would you like to achieve. We've taken a couple of touch points like check-in, and we've decided that we will provide online check-in or mobile check-in. In fact, we decided that this will be a digital touch point, and we want our guests to be able to do it seamlessly, that user experience is great and it's fast. And if we achieve that, then we could actually replace some of the things that we would otherwise do manually with technology. Like this year, we will have about 1 million guests, about 300,000 of them will do online check-in. This actually saves the money, it improves the processes, and what is also relevant, when you do that, you would think that the guests would just go to the room. Our Croatian hospitality in terms of leisure business is different. Even though we have this online check-in, when guests enters the hotel, he wants to talk with someone. And he wants to understand what is happening in the destination, what is happening in the hotel. And what we've transformed for the guests that did online check-in, the experience is more about discussion, about hotel, amenities, destination, and experiences.
Perfect. Damir, you wanted to say something?
Let's say that in our case, personalization, we use the tool how to simple some things, because from the PMS, if you have a very stable connection with the PMS, you can use the nationality of the guest to adapt the communication in this language for some messaging or some to promote some excursion in this thing, or of course of the service, because you know that some, for example, Italian guests like the dinners in the restaurants. You can also combine that in wellness. You send to the German guests, etc., like this.
Yeah, that's perfect. So you can target them even in-house while they are staying in your hotel.
And personalization also can be, for example, if in Rentlio you put that this guest is gluten-free, when he is looking in room service menu, he will see only the gluten-free meals. And this is something what is for some of the guests very important, and that personalization that he have feeling that we understanding what type of the things he like.
And they can immediately then pay, right?
Of course.
So we can offer different payment options. For me as a millennial, I pay everything with my watch. I don't think hotels offer that option, so I can pay with my watch. Few, they have some sort of digital cards. Chris, in your opinion, different payment options that you can offer as a hotel, how important is that for the European market and for the US market, that you have experience in both since you lived in Barcelona and you're now living in the States?
Yeah, so localization, when you talk about hyper-localization in the reservation process, it's really 3 elements, right? So form of payment, language, currency, right? And if you can get those 3 right, our payment optimization folks will say that you can improve conversion by upwards of 20%, right? So it's a big deal. And alternative non-credit card forms of payment are definitely gaining share, especially in Europe, right? And then you mentioned the wallets. So the wallets are especially, like Apple Pay, Google Pay, are especially effective in a mobile environment. To be able to facilitate the payment process and reduce fraud.
Is it safe? How safe is that? I think everybody here is kind of scared. Marco mentioned fear, kind of scared about all these different payments processes. How safe is that?
Yeah, so, from a security perspective, there's, e-commerce just by nature is has a little higher level of fraud than like a card present transaction. But, most of the security protocols have actually been developed in Europe, and 3DS is, mandated in a lot of different circumstances and working a lot better than it did before. And then also we're seeing a number of different fraud solutions that are, instead of being kind of rule-based in terms of profiling customers, now they're based on like artificial intelligence profiling and actually really, really effective.
Yeah, that's perfect to know that it's really safe. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to add on, Chris, from hotelier perspective, and what we see as a challenge and trying to resolve is that, like, we have majority of the guests are German in our hotels, majority, 40-something%. And the idea about personalization is that when this guest from Germany wants to pay for his accommodation, he wants to do it, as you said, with his watch, or the way how Germans usually pay. Like we use our mobile apps in Germany, they use the Ford or similar terms of payment that we as hoteliers need to provide our guests. And that's why solutions like Worldline or similar are great because they can cover our guest base. And when you want to enable German guests to pay with some local type of payment, it's just a tick box on the platform. And the separate thing about TVs as well from the hotelier perspective, luckily enough we work together. But what we've seen is that not all information, if you have kind of on-premise PMS is stored there. We've seen also that loyalty information or information that's relevant that you could personalize TV are not good enough in PMS. So we've actually developed a layer above so that we could actually push that information to TV so that that guest is not only watching TV. You can offer him many more things, and that's actually enabler. So that's the data.
Yeah, that's really important to understand that you can sell in-house, not only you can upsell in-house.
Yes, and I can also add that payment is something what will be important in the next thing, but especially if you're looking in some business or boutique hotel in the town, when you have the business guest and he want maybe to order a room service from the room and he don't want to put on the room, he want that easily to scan the QR code and that pay with his credit card. And one of the, of course, things what is my maybe special because I doing with lots of different hotels in Riga, and one of the things is most important when you have very good PMS and connection with the payment gateway, you needed to understand that you needed to receive from which card it's going, make the payment that you enter in the PMS, and after you don't have the double accounting and backing with which card it's paying, that this information you find inside the PMS. And this is something what we see in lots of online check-in integration with the payment, that it's very important information when you try to consider which payment gateway is the best suit. I know that everybody from your side usually looks in the first of what type of percent they use or take, but in the generally when you calculate all important things, it's very important to have some, let's say, worldwide solution like it's Worldline.
Yeah, I completely agree, and to be able to send information from PMS to the device where you are charging information to avoid the human error is also crucial, right? Chris, some emerging wellness trends that you've seen in the States that you believe will just flow to Europe in the next few years, in your opinion, since we are kind of different markets?
Yeah. So one thing that was kind of a surprise to me is in the U.S. there's like a spinning organization called SoulCycle that's been very popular, and I stayed at a hotel the other day that implemented kind of a pop-up SoulCycle for spinning, and it was built into the booking process, right? So it was essentially taking their concierge service, building it into the user experience and the reservation process, and they were able to kind of cross-sell this tour and activity, and really facilitate the payment, reservation, and the presentation of a local activity, which I think that's another just huge opportunity for hoteliers.
Do you have any examples, Roberto, for that Chris was explaining, to the potential to upsell? Did you see any differences after you managed to like close out your tech stack and improve it?
Yes, we see. I'll give you one example. A manager of software development company called me a few days ago, and he told me that his wife called our call center, and she was walking, and in 3 minutes, in maybe she did 200 meters, she was able to book a hot vacation with our agent, because when she called, he actually knew who she was, that they have small children, what they like, and the offering that he presented was actually personalized offering for her, and they actually resolved that in a couple of minutes. That's maybe one fresh example because it's just happened, and then many more, like on our mobile app or website. If you want to offer, like we have our platform for experiences. We contract 50 experience in each destination, so that actually when the guest arrives, we could offer some experiences. In Austria, we do it with skiing. So when you actually book, we can offer you a ski school for your children. You just reserve it online, and we will take your children to the ski, do the school, and return them back. And dependent on the height and size of the children or the age of the children, we actually prepare equipment, and when they arrive, it's just a matter of resolving. That maybe 2 examples.
Yeah, that's a really good example. And can you take a 2 meter of a child also for a skiing?
Of course.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
It's
Appreciate
personalized.
it. Yeah, it's for 2. It's for the 4-year-old and 30-year-old.
Yes.
So, Damir, what do you think? How can we make mobile apps? Usually, when you look at the hotel chains mobile apps, they're kind of complicated, not intuitive. In your opinion, how can you make it? If you are making a custom mobile app for your hotel, that is an individual hotel, how can you make it better to suit better your clients?
Very good question, thank you. One of the things what I always want to say is that mobile app today, it's native app or the guest or the progressive app or web app is the same. It's the guest app for the guest, and what we needed to before we define with the client what he expecting from the mobile or the web app is that we need to understand that lots of today application what we download from the big chain, not from Valamar, but in the generally, that they don't give you the add value for the guest. How much you, I don't know, I travel lots of private and business, and I think that I will probably have 50 years when I will when I pick up 2 rooms for 2 nights for the free sleeping. This is not add value what we are, let's say, solving to the guest during the stay. And we have 2 or 3 or 4 days and to solve some things and to make the strategy for the upselling and cross-selling or answer on some question what is guest inside the hotel. But one of the, let's say, easy tricks what we are today are doing with the web app, it's everybody probably have the pool, everybody have the beds, and everybody expecting that 50% what you have with the person, that he will cover all beds, and we like to implement the QR location QR code, what have the pool menu, and we can, of course, in this case, the guest can easily order, and you can play with changing not daily but maybe weekly menu if you want to put up front some cocktails, or you want to combine when he choose some club sandwich that you put in the program that suggests the complementary water or a glass of the wine. And I always, when I speak with the GMs or someone, F&B manager, I always say, don't please try to sell something what is not going, and because I think that everybody will say, agree with me that nobody technology or application can sell you the champagne or something else what you will not, you cannot pay or you don't want to drink. It's be realistic and play with the numbers, because I know some hotels what in Croatia also have 50 rooms, but when you take like 1,005 or 2,000 orders per from application, with a little upselling, you can usually go 5 to 8% on the water or the glass of the wine, not to push like wine what you are not usually selling. And this is add value for this.
It's we are now back to the personalization, right?
Okay.
So I have a question for Roberto and Chris, maybe from a personal standpoint, and then Roberto from the Valamar standpoint. So post-stay is a really important thing, and it's becoming more and more important. So how do you how can we target you? So hotels in Croatia, now you're in Croatia. I told you yesterday to come sailing to Croatia with your family. How can they target you so that you book one of their hotels?
Yeah, so you're talking about after they leave
so
the
before
property?
and after. You can give us first the example of after and then the ones with the sailing.
Yeah, so I think beforehand, I think it's really just making sure that you're capturing a customer's information when they reserve and putting you in a position so that you can engage with that customer before they arrive to the hotel, and also facilitate cross-selling opportunities, so that and I loved the point about sometimes customers still want to come to speak to the receptionist or the concierge, but if you can put yourself in a position where you're able to kind of separate all the payment information and the paperwork, then you allow your teams to be focused on providing the stuff that matters, right, for establishing a client's experience at the hotel.
Perfect.
Yeah, in our case, we've integrated all guest data into one place in real time, so that we could actually be able to personalize what or understand what guest needs. Because just by browsing site we know about you something, when you come the second time we know more. But if you were in our hotel before, we can personalize that experience immediately. Additionally, I think hotelier needs to look at that as the whole journey, from the time that you actually exploring and interesting and booking and staying and check out, and then after stay. If you look on this as a relationship long term, then you can actually personalize each step. Like you have your own loyalty program, and you provide incentives for it or benefits. If you do have follow-up emails when guests leave, if you look into surveys that they did or while they stay, and you improve on these things, and you notify them what you've done for them and for the next time. These are the things that hoteliers need to do in a way of relationship with the guest to be successful. Without that, it's just stay and go, and maybe will come next year. And we've seen, we have some returning guests. Majority of them will, a lot of them will be first time. And especially in leisure business, it's like this. You don't have business guests that would come or city guests. So you really have to look into all the relationship with the guest, understand the guest, what they want to do, which way, and then help them in that.
Yeah, I think that's perfect to end this part of discussion, and that we can switch to the Q&A from your questions. Just to close out what already Marko mentioned and Pani also mentioned. So don't miss out. If you hear the train goes choo-choo, jump on. don't stay on the station. So you can see here, we work with Worldline, we work with Hoteza. Hoteza is working with Valamar. Roberto is our friend. He's on Rediscover again. So we're all trying to send you a message. So please jump on the train. Don't let it leave the station. Thank you, and we will move to your questions. Režija. Okay, Chris, the first question is for you. Can you read it? Can you see?
Yeah, perfect. So an increase in card usage after the pandemic, how has the pandemic affected guest behavior in terms of payments? So the big impact to the pandemic was there was a big adoption in contactless card usage, and then also some really interesting dynamics in terms of like the type of travel that we were seeing. For example, I'm from Miami, Florida, and so as the cruise lines were kind of having to pull back on service, there was a big influx in the all-inclusive hoteliers in Mexico and the Caribbean that were seeing an influx in travel. But just in general, our alternative forms of payment are definitely gaining steam. PayPal is one alternative that we're seeing. In the U.S. market, the big story in terms of like digital currencies and payments is Pix, is a form of payment in Brazil that now represents 30% of the transactions in the Brazilian market. Ideal represents about 70% of the Dutch market. So it's real, and it's definitely gaining steam.
Thank you, Chris. Roberto, the next one is for you.
Yeah. So my background is R&D, software engineering, and I'm all my life in platform software, and that's my passion. But when it comes to hospitality and when it comes to leisure business, technology should not replace human touch, and it will not. This will or should remain, because the main purpose of your leisure business is to relax, to interact, and to get familiar with destination, with hotel, and with experiences. So in that terms, no. However, technology should be enabler to have better service and to have people that are empowered to make smart decisions. As an example, with our call center, we actually just made the technology as fast that it works within half of the seconds, and that an agent has all the insights that he needs to speak with the guest. And same goes with the staff in a hotel. If the staff in a hotel would have a simple way how to access guest data, the interaction would be personalized, and that's the whole point. Of course, some things will change because of the staff shortage and because of the younger generations that rather text than speak. So we have to adapt to that. But in terms of relationship, I don't think so. I am speaking about kind of Croatian market and leisure business. In terms of business guests, it's a whole different story. I think this should be as digitalized as possible, because business guests want to come in, have personalized room or place to work and so on. And I think this is a completely different story.
Thank you. I think the next one is also for you, so you can just...
Which digital software products we are using and why? Development, customer engagement, attention. The funny thing about us is we grew a lot. I'm in a company 6 years, and I think if there is a product on the market, we have it. In terms of, you need PMS, you need market automation, you need CRM, you need booking engine. I think in hospitality, if you mention one type of product, we probably have it. The challenge is that we have a lot of products within some journey, and that's the challenge, because this is expensive to maintain, it's expensive to learn, and it's also decreases our ability to provide great digital service. And from that perspective, I think we should simplify that. Not our company, but all the companies. I think less is more. However, when it comes to something where you need to increase the value, then you need to take specialized elements and plug it in, like recommending engines, because it's something that is kind of specific. I can speak, or whoever asks the questions, I can speak later about what we use. Some of the things we are changing, some of the things we will maintain to use. But it's very difficult to take one, because we really have a lot of platforms, and that was why one of the reasons why we developed our data platform, so that it could actually be fast in responding to new business needs.
Thank you, Roberto. I think the next question was for Worldline and Rently. Are you able to tokenize guest cards? So this is something that we are currently working on, that Worldline is providing. And if you have additional questions on that topic, in the first row is product manager, of course, in Rently, Mr. Ivan Cukrov. So if you have additional questions, you can speak with Cuki later. And I think we can...
Can I add just one thing from the hotelier perspective here? I think for hoteliers, it's important that we don't keep information that we don't have to. Especially when it comes for something that is secure. Because we are not a security company, we are not software company, we are providing services, and we have IT teams, but cost of maintaining security knowledge is high. So we should always look to store that information somewhere secure. And credit card is one of that. So I would encourage everyone not to use credit card information within our own platform, but keep it safe on like online payment provider service or similar. And I think it goes for most of the things.
Yeah, I completely agree. From the Rentlio side as well, that is the reason we have partners that handle that, because it's really, really hard even to develop safe software to handle that. And last question we can handle, Chris, this one is for you as well.
Nothing for me.
Sorry, Damir.
Oh, yeah, just around...
yeah, go ahead.
Around kind of confirming the validity of credit cards. Is that kind of what the question is? Yeah, so, a lot of times what we see is that, hoteliers will kind of take credit card information, but not really do much with it, right? Yeah. And so, even if you don't want to charge a customer at time of reservation, which is fine, you can do what's called like a $0 authorization of that card to be able to validate that it's a valid card, right? And bring it on file. And so it puts you in a great position then to be able to apply a scheduled payment, like before the customer gets to the hotel, or if the customer no-shows and you want to charge a cancel penalty, you've got a valid card on file to be able to apply that cancel penalty. And that completely fits. I know there were questions about kind of the regulatory implications. That's completely regulatory compliant.
Yeah, I think that's really important for everyone to know. Thank you, gentlemen. If you have any last thoughts that you want to share with the audience, or we can do it later in the networking part and in the party. You're okay? Then thank you once again. Thank you for your questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Pardon.